members of public who are the public gallery. I have directed that they sit at the Speaker's gallery, and that I'm informed is a representation of the residents, honorable residents of Makueni, who in exercising their constitutional right and in assisting the County Assembly to oversight processes, had filed a petition for the vetting of the nominees that were present to this assembly. Therefore, members of the public gallery, you are welcome to the proceedings of the County Assembly of Makueni. The assembly is a place of the people. Next order.
Order number 3, messages.
Next order.
Order number 4, petitions.
That there is the petition on Kalamba community regarding the operations of Kalamba community dispensary. Chairperson, did you consult with the member for Nzawi Kalamba ward?
Coming today, and he was informed and he was communicated to by the clerk.
Leader of the majority. I'll give Chairperson of the Health Services, I will give you directions in due course on this petition. Next order.
Order number 5, papers.
Leader of the majority party.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sir, Mr. Speaker, before I lay the papers on the table of the Assembly today, I also want to recognize the team on the Speaker's gallery. And Mr. Speaker, in the creation of Earth, when I was in school, I was taught there was Homo habilis, Homo erectus, and the other one, who was Homo sapiens. One of them was a thinking man. And Mr. Speaker, in the gallery, there is a friend of mine, also known as a think tower, who is in that category of thinking men. So it's very much welcome. Mr. Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the Assembly today, Wednesday, 6th March 2024 at 2:30 p.m. Business of the County Assembly for the coming week, the report of the Auditor General on the Makueni County Bursary Fund for the year ended 30th June 2022, the report on the Auditor General on the Makueni County Bursary Fund for the year ended 30th June 2023, the report of the Auditor General on the Makueni County Emergency Fund for the year ended 30th June 2023, the report of the Auditor General on the Makueni County Revenue for the year ended 30th June 2023. I thank you.
Honorable members, the report of the Auditor General on Makueni County Bursary on the Makueni County Bursary for the year ended 30th June 2022, Makueni County Bursary year ended 30th June 2023, the Makueni County Emergency Fund for the year ended 30th June 2023, the Makueni County Revenue Fund of the year ended 30th June year 2023. Committee of the Committee on Public Investments and Accounts Committee to report within 90 days. Chairperson, you are directed. Chairperson, Gender, Youth, Sports, Social Services and Special Interest Group. Chairperson, there was your chairperson had sought some guidance on the recommendation regarding a commitment to Senate, to the CS of Interior, and to Director of Criminal Investigations. If you give me some time, I'll first peruse before that paper is laid. Okay. Chairperson, Budget and Appropriation Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the Assembly today, Wednesday, 6th March 2024 at 2:30 p.m. That is the report of the Budget and Appropriations Committee on the closure of the original budget 2023/24 Exchequer release status as of 30th November 2023. I lay. Thank you.
Chairperson, Committee on Procedure and Rules. Chairperson, Committee Procedure and Rules. Deferred. Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Chairperson, Budget and Appropriation Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to give notice of the following motion, that this Assembly adopts the report of the Budget and Appropriations Committee on the closure of original budget 2023/24 Exchequer release status as of 30th November 2023, laid on the table of the Assembly on 6th March 2024. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Next order.
Order number 7, statements.
Leader of the Majority Party.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Orders number 47 Part 2A and 55 of the County Assembly Standing Orders, I rise to give a statement of the business of the County Assembly for the next sitting week. The following business has been tentatively scheduled to be transacted by the County Assembly in the next coming sitting week. On Monday, the 11th March of 2024, petitions. There will be a response to the petition on behalf of the Health Care Workers Union regarding unaddressed grievances affecting health workers in Makueni County. On papers and notices, Mr. Speaker, tabling of the report on the Budget and Appropriations Committee on the report of the Controller of Budget on the annual County Government's Budget Implementation Review Report for the financial year 2022-2023. A notice of motion shall be given. Tabling of the report on the Committee on ICT, Education and Internship on Oversight on ECD Centers. Notice of motion shall be given as well. Tabling of the report on the Committee on ICT, Education and Internship on Oversight on CTTIs Centers. A notice of motion shall be given as well. Tabling of the report on the Committee on Agriculture, Irrigation, Livestock, Fishery and Cooperative Development, on the report on the Intergovernmental Relations Technical Committee Sector Task Teams on the transfer of devolved functions. A notice of motion shall be given as well. Tabling of the report on the Committee of ICT, Education, Internship, on the report of Intergovernmental Relations Technical Committee Sector Teams of the transfer of devolved functions. Notice of motion shall be given as well. Tabling of the report on the Committee on Environment and Climate Change, on the report of Intergovernmental Relations Technical Committee Sector Task Teams on the transfer of devolved functions. A notice of motion shall be given as well. Tabling of the report on the Committee on Health Services, on the report on the Intergovernmental Relations Technical Committee Sector Teams on the transfer of devolved functions. A notice of motion shall be given as well, Mr. Speaker. Tabling of the report on the Committee on Trade, Marketing, Industry, Culture and Tourism, on the report of the Intergovernmental Relations Technical Committee Sector Task Teams on the transfer of devolved functions. A notice of motion shall be given as well. On the statements, respond to the statement regarding the issuance of financial year 2023-2024 bursary in Kikumbulu North Ward as was requested by the Honorable Member for Kikumbulu North, Honorable Mbalu. Motion for the adoption of the report of the Joint Committee on Gender, Children, Youth, Sports and Social Services and Special Interest Groups on sexual harassment and exploitation of students of Chani Secondary School in Dhange Ward. Motion of the adoption of the report on the Budget and Appropriations Committee on the closure of original budget 2023-2024 Exchequer release status as at 30th November 2023. Motion of the adoption of the report on the Budget Committee, I beg your pardon. Motion for the adoption of the half-yearly progress report of the County Assembly Procedure and Rules Committee for the period July to December 2023. On the Thursday, 12th of March 2024, in the morning, on Tuesday, 12th March 2024, in the morning plenary, on papers and notices, tabling of the report of the Committee on Devolution, Public Participation, County Administration and Special Program on County Public Service Board compliance with the values and principles in Articles 10 and 232 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010. A notice of motion shall be given as well. On statements, Mr. Speaker, respond to the statement regarding the construction of Mboni Sub-County Hospital Isolation Center in Mboni Ward as was requested by the Honorable Member for Mboni, Honorable Alexander Mulemba. Motion for the adoption of the half-yearly progress report of the Committee on Devolution, Public Participation, County Administration and Special Programs for the period between July and December 2023. Motion for the report on the Committee on Infrastructure, Transport, Public Works, Housing and Energy on the oversight on roads in the county. In the afternoon plenary, Mr. Speaker, sir, papers and notices, tabling of the report on the Committee on Gender, Children, Youth, Sport and Social Services on the consideration of the Makueni County Sports Policy 2023. A notice of motion shall be given as well. On motions, Mr. Speaker, motion for the adoption of the half-yearly progress report of the Budget and Appropriations Committee for the period between July and December 2023. Motion for the adoption of the half-yearly progress report of the Committee on Implementation for the period between July and December 2023. On Wednesday, the 13th of March 2024, tabling of the report of the Procedure and Rules Committee on the amendment of the County Assembly of Makueni Standing Orders. A notice of motion shall be given as well. Tabling of the report of the Committee on Lands, Urban Planning, Development on the Makindu Local Physical and Land Use Development Plan 2023-2033. A notice of motion shall be given as well. Tabling of the report on the Committee on Lands, Urban Planning and Development of the Emali Sultan Hamud Municipality Integrated Development Plan 2023-2027. A notice of motion shall be given as well. On the motions, motion for the adoption of the half-yearly progress report of the Assembly Business Committee for the period between July December 2023. Motion for the adoption of the report on the Public Investments and Accounts Committee on consideration of the report of the Auditor General on the Kibwezi Makindu Water Sanitation Company Limited for the year ended 30th June 2018, 30th June 2019, 30th June 2020, 30th June 2021 and 30th June 2022. Mr. Speaker, sir, there shall be a meeting of the County Assembly Business Committee on Monday, 11th March 2024 at 9 a.m. and pursuant to the decisions of that meeting, additional business may be scheduled to be transacted by the County Assembly during that week. I thank you.
Member for Ukia Ward to request for a statement number 5 of the year 2024 from the Chairperson Committee on Health Services regarding delayed construction works at Mukuyuni Level 4 Hospital.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I stand to give a statement. Mr. Speaker, pursuant to the provision of Article 185(3) of the Constitution of Kenya 2010, Section 39(2) of the County Government Act 2012, revised on 2020, and the Standing Order 50 of the Makueni County Assembly Standing Orders, I rise to request for a statement from the Chairperson Committee on Health Services regarding delayed construction works at Mukuyuni Level 4 Hospital. Mr. Speaker, sir, in the year 2020-2021, 7 million was allocated for the construction of additional wards. That was a men's ward, a theater, and X-ray rooms, and the construction of additional offices at the Mukuyuni Level 4 Hospital. Consequently, in the year 2021-2022, the allocated funds were reallocated to some headquarter projects with a promise of the allocated funds being returned to the project once the design and drawings of the construction works were ready. Mr. Speaker, sir, in the year 2022-2023, the earlier allocation of 7 million was returned to the project as was promised. An additional 4 million was allocated to the project during that financial year, hence giving the project a total allocation of 11 million. Mr. Speaker, sir, however, with the availability of the allocated funds, the designs and drawings for the project have not been prepared and availed to date. These are stalled the construction works at Mukuyuni Level 4 Hospital to date. Mr. Speaker, sir, the chairperson should therefore clarify on the following: why the construction works have delayed, provide copies of designs, drawings, and BOQs of the construction works. If not available, provide reasons for the lack of the same, the actions the department has taken to have the designs, drawings, and the BOQ for the construction works developed, and when will they be ready, and when will the construction works begin. We also require timelines to be provided. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chairperson on Health Services.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I request for 2 weeks to get comprehensive answer from the ECM Health. Those are really legitimate questions. We have been following with him, and I believe we should get it right, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Ukia Ward, you are satisfied with 14 days?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have no problem with the 14 days. What I require from the chair is to ensure there is no further delay of the project, because my people have been questioning why the project has delayed. And Mr. Speaker, actually the project is now going for a 4th year before it has commenced. And this has brought a lot of questions from my people. So, Chair, I will accept you give the report or you answer the statement in 14 days. Thank you very much.
Chairperson, endeavor to do so. Chairperson, Committee on Agriculture, Irrigation, Livestock, Fisheries and Cooperative Development, to respond to statement number 28 regarding implementation of Kanini Kasio irrigation project in Kalawa Ward as requested by member for Kalawa Ward.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, before I bring the statement, I want to tell the Leader of Majority, creation and evolution are not in the same sentence. So next time, when you're talking about Homo sapiens and Homo...
What is it? Chairperson, what are you saying?
I'm trying to educate the leader of majority on biology, not to abuse it next time, that when he's referring to the creation and of Homo sapiens, that is not in creation, but in evolution. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker.
Oh, that the creation is a theory of creation and there's a theory of evolution.
Yeah, there are two theories. There is the theory on creation and the theory of evolution. And therefore, as a elder in the IC Church, you should not mix the two.
He should stick to the theory of creation.
Because in creation we don't have Homo sapiens, we don't have Homo erectus. That is evolution. And I would not sit here to see biology being abused. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
What is it, Member of Ottomani?
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I truly want to thank my very educated biology teacher. But, it tells the difference. I concentrated too much on Kiswahili, Mr. Speaker. Biology, I performed not very well. So I think, and of course, I did geography. And therefore, I stand to be corrected. And I meant what she's saying. Maybe I mixed the English. I meant what she's saying. Thank you.
Fair enough. Go ahead, Malimu.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the majority leader should also know that evolution is in geography, where we have the lands, masses, and how they separated, and we had the animals, some going to a different sphere and the other one, but it's okay. It's just advanced geography, I understand it. Thank you,
please
Mr. Speaker.
proceed. He still means what you are saying.
Mr. Speaker, thank you, Honorable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Article 185, Part 3 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010, Section 39, Part 2 of the County Government Act 2012, revised in 2020, and the Standing Order 50 of Makueni County Assembly Standing Orders, during the 81st sitting of the County Assembly, held on the 11th October 2023, the member of County Assembly of Ukia Ward, Honorable Jackson Ndolo, requested for a statement regarding implementation of Kanini Kasio irrigation project in Kalawa Ward. Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Speaker directed that the chairperson of the Committee on Agriculture, Livestock and Food Security to avail a response regarding the above statement request to the County Assembly within 14 days. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Kanini Kasio irrigation project was allocated funds in the financial year 2021 and 2022 budget under the small-scale irrigation and value addition project known as CVAP, and its implementation involved construction of dams, laying of 2 distribution lines to serve 4 institutions and the 34 households, and the training of the intended beneficiaries. Mr. Speaker, sir, in undertaking the project, the contractor provides only 1 distribution line, and in so doing, 3 institutions and 25 households were targeted by the contractor to receive irrigation water from the project, thereby leaving out 1 institution and 9 households. Moreover, the 3 institutions and the 25 households have not been able to benefit from the project since the laying of the distribution line was not done to completion, as the pipes were left hanging by the roadside and not reaching the intended farms. Mr. Speaker, whereas the intended beneficiaries were supposed to be sensitized and trained on how to better utilize the project, no such training was undertaken, and there are indications of it taking place. The only engagement ever done was the public baraza held during the official initiation of the project. Additionally, the Project Management Committee, PMC, was not supplied with the project bill of quantities and the work plan, despite them having requested for the same. Mr. Speaker, the casual workers who were engaged by the contractor have not been paid for the service they rendered at the project. Mr. Speaker, sir, the chairperson should therefore clarify on the following. One, provide the current status of irrigation project with reasons as to why it has not been completed and when it is expected to be completed. Two, provide the name and address of the contractor who was awarded the project. Three, provide the BQ and the work plan for the project, clearly showing the commencement and completion dates, specific activities to be undertaken, and the cost of each activity. Four, while only one distribution line was established and not the two initially planned, and now the remaining one institution and now 9 households will be taken care of in order for them to benefit from the project. 5, while the community and the intended beneficiaries were not sensitized and trained as well planned, and when such sensitization and training will take place. 6, whether the department is aware that the casual workers engaged by the contractor at the project have not been paid, and if yes, what are the reasons for such non-payment, and when will the casual workers be paid their wages? Then 7, the action the department has taken or plans to take against the contractor for the shoddy and incomplete works done at the project and failing to adhere to the project implementation timelines. Mr. Speaker, the committee engaged the ECM or the executive committee member in a letter, reference com 3CA Agriculture 2023/08, dated 12th October 2023, who responded in a letter GMC LFG ECM C4CA/4 volume 4/52 dated 30th October 2023. Based on the response that failed, the committee compiled a response and presented it to the County Assembly for consideration during the 95th sitting held on 15th November 2023. The response was termed not satisfactory on a number of areas as alleged by the MCA for Kalawa Ward. The member sought for the following. 1, whether the implementation status of the project as presented by ECM was 95%. 2, the completion of the project as indicated by the executive committee member, that is by the end of December 2023, was realistic owing to the fact that line 2 containing 9 households and 1 institution had not commenced. Moreover, in line 1, which contained 25 households, had not received water since works at intake were not complete and several T connections and pipeline layout were still incomplete. 3, the authenticity of attendance register as presented by ECM. 4, the workmanship of the project as presented by ECM. The area member of Kalawa Ward and the ECM seem to hold a different opinion and actual situation on the above captioned grounds. The Speaker directed that the committee to carry out a site visit to the project for a fact-finding activity and authenticate on the above matters. Mr. Speaker, the committee's approval to attend the site visit was granted and it proceeded to the project site on Thursday, 29th February 2024, accompanied by Honorable Jackson Ndolo, that is the statement requester. It also met the PMC and some farmers meant to benefit from the project's water for irrigation. And these are the findings after the site visit. For question 1, which was to provide the current status of the irrigation project with the reasons as to why it has not been completed and when it is expected to be completed, the response is, the project is financed by African Development Bank in collaboration with the government of Kenya through the State Department for Crops Development. The ECM had reported that the implementation status of the project was 95%, and the completion of the project was indicated to be the end of December 2023. Upon site visit by the committee, this seemed unrealistic since the committee found out that 1, line 2 containing 9 households and 1 institution had not commenced. 2, the remaining 225 meters cubed capacity ground masonry tank for line 2 had not been constructed. 3, according to the PMC, only line 1, which contained 25 HH, had pipeline layout done, several T connection, G1 pipes for the crossing were not fixed, and 4, air valves were not fixed and the manholes not constructed. The ECM had indicated that the commencement date of the project was 31st March 2023 and the completion date was 30th December 2023 and handing over to the beneficiaries. The completion date was unrealistic since by the time of the site visit, the project was far from completion. Question number 2 was to provide the name and address of the contractor who was awarded the project. The contractor was awarded to Ms. Manyota Kenya Limited of PO Box 20685 00100 Nairobi. Then question number 3 was to provide the BQ and the work plan for the project, clearly showing the commencement and the completion date, specific activities to be undertaken, and the cost of each activity. The response, the project location, the village is Thwake, Kadhulumbi sublocation, Kalawa location, Kalawa ward, Makueni sub-county, which I think Kalawa is in Boni. Yeah, it should be Boni. I think there is a typing error. It's in Boni sub-county, and the county is Makueni. Scope of work. The scope of work includes 1, repair of existing intake sump, which changed scope to construction of new sump and was done. 2, installation of solar system and pump, which was done. 3, construction of a water tank, and we found that only 1 tank was constructed. And 4, construction of conveyance and distribution pipelines, and only 1 out of 2 lines was done. The project cost. The total cost of the project was Kenya shillings 18,763,067 exclusive of VAT. It is worth noting that the ECM attached a blank BQ, and that will be found in Annex 1. The initial commencement date of the project was October 2022, but delayed up to 31st March 2023, and the completion date was scheduled for 30th December 2023, as reported by the ECM. The relaunching of the project was done by His Excellency, the Governor, Honorable Mutula Kilonzo Jr. Question number 4 read, why only 1 distribution line was established and not the 2 initially planned, and how the remaining 1 institution, 9 households, will be taken care of in order for them to benefit from the project? The response is the existing swamp in the bill of quantities belonged to another project and therefore was not rehabilitated. Instead, a new swamp for the project was constructed at a higher budget, which constrained works on line 1. It is worthy noting that the project scope changed without consultation of the PMC. Question number 5 was, while the community and the intended beneficiaries were not sensitized and trained as was planned, and when such sensitization and the training will take place. The ECM had indicated that training of the beneficiary members is vested on the county government of Makueni through the department concerned with agricultural crop production on 27th March 2023. The community was sensitized in a meeting held at Chief's office and was graced by area member of County Assembly for Kalawa Ward, and that can be found in Annex 2. A copy of the proceedings and an attendance register is attached in Annex 3. A copy of the proceedings and an attendance register is attached in Annex 3. The attendance is Annex 2, and then the attendance register is in Annex 3. However, upon first fact-finding at site, it was deduced that the said meeting was a conflict resolution arising from management, supervision, and unpayment of project cash shows, and no sensitization of training of farmers as alleged by the ECM. A training on good agricultural practice, that is GAP, was conducted by Ward Sub-County and the county headquarter agricultural staff, focusing on various aspects of the agricultural production on 8th June 2023, and that can be found in Annex 4. A list of farmers' attendance for the training program is attached in Annex 5. It is worth noting that this was the only training which happened on less than 1 hour, as indicated by PMC and the farmer beneficiaries who attended the site visit. The beneficiaries indicate that the training was not enough as it did not capture a number of gaps. The ECM had indicated that on 14th August 2023, a demonstration training was conducted by Ward Agricultural Officer, which involved both practical and theory work on planting of watermelon as one of the high value chain agricultural crops being introduced in the scheme to increase farmers' income. The crop has already matured and farmers are enjoying the sales. A pictorial representation is attached in Annex 2. However, the committee established that the pictorial presentation captioned in Annex 2 was a camera photo taken by farmers on their farms and forwarded it to the Ward Agricultural Officer, who later used it to caption a training which never was. Then the other question was whether the department is aware that the casual workers engaged by the contractor at the project have not been paid, and if yes, what are the reasons for such non-payment, and when will the casual workers be paid their wages? The response was the department had been informed by the project chairperson, Mr. Thomas Mudhoka, that the only arrears claimed by the casual workers for September and October 2023 had not been paid. However, during the site visit, the project chairperson indicated that all the arrears were paid on Tuesday, 31st October 2023. The other question was what the actions the department has taken or plans to take against the contractor for the shoddy and incomplete works done at the project and failing to adhere to the project implementation timelines. The response, the ECM had indicated that the project was to commence on October 2022, and there were delays of funds disbursement by the ministry in charge of agriculture, and subsequently the project implementation started in March 2023. As earlier communicated, the project was to be completed by end of December 2023. Further, the ECM had informed the committee, according to the scoping and timeline, the project scheduling is on course. There were no instances of poor workmanship as earlier claimed. The project is under strict and scheduled supervision by engineers from the National Ministry of Agriculture, Livestock and Fisheries. However, the committee during the site visits established that the construction of the 225 cubic meters capacity ground masonry tank was constructed with a base that seemed shallow, approximately half a meter, hence exposing the huge masonry tank to risk of being washed away by storm water. Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee hereby presents the response to the statement regarding implementation of Kanini Kaseo irrigation project in Kalawa Ward to the County Assembly for consideration. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Requester of the statement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I first start by thanking the Committee on Agriculture for the good work they have done by going or visiting the project in Kalawa so that they can establish the truth based on the responses which we were given here by the ECM Agriculture. Mr. Speaker, it is true what the chair has confirmed here. We visited the site, and it is very unfortunate that this house can receive a misleading information from the ECM Agriculture that the project was 95% complete. I believe when the ECM gave this response to this house, Mr. Speaker, she did not have the facts on what is happening on the ground. Because when we visited the site, Mr. Speaker, it is true, you can barely say the project is 70% complete. Because as you have heard what the chair has confirmed, it is only one tank which has been done, and the tank which the raised tank which has been done for the distribution of the water, it is shortly done. It is riskily set. When you look at the base, it was just above the ground, and when it will be loaded with the water, it is a risk, Mr. Speaker. We also confirmed it is only the pipeline that has been laid from this tank to the river. The connection from the sump which has been done in the river has not been done. The main line has not been done. The pumping system has not been done. The air valves on the line have not been done. The connection, the T's to the farmers have not been done. And Mr. Speaker, we could say there is no water which has been supplied to these farmers, Mr. Speaker. No water has been supplied. And you can see even at the end of the report, we were told the farmers are enjoying the sale of their crop. Now, how can you enjoy the sale of the crops when even the water has not been provided to the farmers? I was surprised, Mr. Speaker. You could also see the T's which were supposed to be connected to the farmers. They were just left just a few meters from the main line, Mr. Speaker. The 9 household and the other institution which was supposed to be supplied with the water, nothing has been done, Mr. Speaker. We also confirmed that here we were told the farmers were sensitized, Mr. Speaker. But it is true, we confirmed. The meeting which was held on 27th, it was not meant for sensitizing the farmers. It was a meeting for conflict resolution, Mr. Speaker. And we wonder how the ECM can mislead this house by sending a register of farmers who are sensitized, and it is not true, Mr. Speaker. So we need to get the reasons why we got this kind of misleading information. Mr. Speaker, on the other issue of payment of cashier, we established most of the cashiers were paid, though there are some who are claimed not to have been paid, of which we asked for the names of those who have not been paid. I don't know whether that has been submitted to the Chair, Committee on Agriculture. I therefore just conclude that, Mr. Speaker, this Kanini Kasio project, a project worthy 18 million, was a noble project. But the way it has been implemented, because you can see what has been given in the BQ, they changed the scope from construction of 2 tanks to 1 tank. And it is true the PMC was not consulted when this changed. So, Mr. Speaker, this is a project which needs a lot of scrutiny. We also requested to know whether the contractor was also paid, because when a contractor is paid for such a shoddy work, it is very unfortunate. And this is money belong to our people, our people who did not get the benefit of the project. And I don't think they are near to get the benefit of this project. As we were told, the project was to be completed in the 31st in December, and I believe it will take a bit longer for this project to be said it has been completed. Those are my sentiments, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Chairperson, we take note of the issues raised by the requester of the statement. It's much more of a description of a problem as it is. Was the patient sick? Yes. The doctor says the patient is sick. Now the committee, you are the doctor. The Kanini patient is sick. You have said that the patient is sick and you are a consultant. So what? How do we treat the disease so that this patient can cure? And how do we kill the bacteria so that then they die? And if it is malaria, how do we kill the mosquitoes that caused that malaria? The point is, if someone mismanaged the project, who takes responsibility? If the contractor has been paid and there is no value for money, is that money lost, or that money should be refunded, or corrections of the work done? It is not the first time when this county assembly inquired into the municipality floodlights. The contractor was compelled to go back to the site, make corrections to all floodlights. I have not yet received a report, but I'm persuaded there were some changes. So, Chairperson, you will have again to revert back. I've seen your findings, but there are no recommendations because it's a statement, so that you give us recommendations. What happens when a contractor does a shoddy job? What happens when an executive committee member gives misleading information? What happens when there is loss of public funds? That is what we want to know. Otherwise, we will debate, and there will be no action point. So help people of Kalawa and Kanini Kasio beneficiaries to benefit with the 18 million, or give the 18 million back to their account. That's what we want. So just tell us, how much time do you require to give back the 18 million, or a project worth 18 million? Chairperson. Honorable Member for Kalawa, you wish to speak? I'm just focused on treating the patient. We can define the patient as the pain, the leg is paining, the back is paining. It is not changing the situation. We want to save time to get more time. But because you come from Kalawa, I will give you an opportunity to make a comment. The rest, please hold on. You are not changing the situation. In fact, you are buying more time and the situation is getting worse. Member for Kalawa.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. First, I want to acknowledge and appreciate the Committee on Agriculture, because they made a commitment to go to Kalawa, particularly to Kanini Kasio water project that is addressing issues of irrigation. Mr. Speaker, the reasons to why I want to make just a small contribution is that the project in Kalawa that is addressing the issues of water and also in irrigation. I'm worried as a member from Kalawa and as a representative of the people. If we can get a report here, Mr. Speaker, that the project is 95% complete, then that tells us that a commitment in terms of payment, a commitment in terms of resources that were used, they were committed, and therefore, if those resources were committed and the project is 95% completion, that clearly indicates that the people from Kalawa, particularly from that project, they stand to lose their project. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, it is very worrying. Number two, Mr. Speaker, in all the departments, when we are getting some clarifications from the statements, it's very important that the departments takes what it takes now to give the right position in terms of a project implementation. When we get a report from the department that is misleading, then it means that this house can actually get a cooked information, and if we get that cooked information, then we mislead the public. We are not here to mislead the public, but we are here to feed the public with the right information. I'm very happy that because we were there with the majority leader, and when we were getting out of the project, I saw some tears from the majority leader. Then I told him, my brother, majority leader, relax, because you have seen the situation. When we are talking about how the project now can be taken seriously, if, because Mr. Speaker, you have said, it is either the people from Kalawa to get 18 million or to get a project complete. That is actually what, Mr. Speaker, you are indicating, of which I appreciate your commitments, because the commitment from this house is actually a commitment of success of the people of Kalawa. I want to believe, out of the project that we have seen, not only even 70%, but I doubt whether the project has attained 50%. Because if we have 2 tanks, 1 tank is not complete. And then the foundation where the tank is laid, it is actually worrying. When the water gets in, that tank will be no more there. If we are talking about 2 lines of distribution, then we have 1 and that 1 is not complete. Then what are we saying? It means that the percentage in terms of completion, it is also worrying. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, as you make ruling on this, the people from Kalawa, they are waiting to see what this house can do. And in the shortest time possible, I understand we are going to get into a good point. So thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Remember who cried?
You know, there is a difference between crying and weeping. You know, even Jesus wept. Mr. Speaker, I want to agree with the member.
Is that statement true or not?
Mr. Speaker, we prayed, and when we prayed with the people of Kalawa, the Kanini Kaseo team, you know, it became a bit emotional. And sometimes when I'm spiritually in the prayer, sometimes tears can fall down. So I think he saw that happening. So I didn't know whether you watched that, but it's good that he saw me doing that. But it was out of that Holy Spirit. So Mr. Speaker, the fact of the matter is that that work was surely done. In fact, you know, I was joking with the people of that place, telling them that, why don't you change the name from Kanini Kaseo to something else? Because it is Kanini and it's Kavoku. You see, because and Mr. Speaker, what engineer? Because fortunately we went with the engineer who has attained that, especially the building of the tank. Where he tried, and where it is laid, and if it rains and it is full, it is likely to fall down. I am not an engineer, I am not a person who has done these things, but I can tell you there there is something wrong. But Mr. Speaker, I like your ruling when you said that some contractors are compelled to go back. My worry is because the PMC has never signed for any contract to be paid. In fact, I was worried that this contractor may have been paid. And I mean, it should come as a warning to other contractors or to other, even maybe national government or NGOs, those who want to do good to our county. Let them not use our people for their personal gains. Let them, if it is the name of assisting, do it very well, Mr. Speaker, and get blessings, because sometimes you may think that you are helping, on the other side you want to pocket money in your pocket. So I want to really give or make it like a warning to all those people with good intentions, but when they come, they change on the way. I am very sure this with the ECM, who is also a colleague in faith, Mr. Speaker, will hear this cry and ensure that the people of Kanini Kaseo get that respect. One, because of course it looks like somebody misused them, and the money that they lost, because I think the money was lost here, Mr. Speaker. So I think the ECM, the buck stops with the ECM. I thank you.
Chairperson, how much time do you require to respond? You have the facts. We want. Fair enough.
A good report with recommendations.
Very well.
Thank you.
Honorable members, I will direct for the convenience of the House, we proceed to the next order. Time allowing, we will revert to statements. Next order.
Order number 8, motion. The report of the Committee on Lands, Urban Planning and Development on the vetting of Benjamin Masungwa, Romeo Ndeveni, Benjamin Wambua Mutua, Daniel Kesianga, Paul Maundu Mutua, Evelyn Molewa Kimuli, and Angela Kiamba, nominees for appointment as members of the Water Municipal Board.
Mover of the motion.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move the following motion, that this Assembly adopts the report of the Committee of Lands, Urban Planning and Development on the vetting of Benjamin Masungwa, Romeo Ndeveni, Benjamin Wambua Mutua, Daniel Kisianga, Paul Maundu Mutua, Evelyn Mulewa Kimuli, and Angela Kiamba, nominees for appointment as members of the Water Municipal Board, laid on the table of the Assembly on 5th March 2024. Honorable Speaker, if you allow, I'll go straight to the executive summary. Mr. Speaker, Section 14 of the Urban Areas and Cities Act 2011, as amended in 2019, provides for the establishment of boards for municipalities. Section 3.11 of the Water Municipality Charter, on the other hand, stipulates that there shall be a board of the Municipality of Water. Section 14 of the Urban Areas and Cities Act 2011, as amended in 2019, provides that a board of a municipality shall consist of the 9 members appointed by the county governor with the approval of the county assembly. The members of the board shall be constituted as follows. 1, the county executive member, for the time being responsible for cities and urban areas, or is or a representative. 2, the chief officer responsible for urban development. 3 members who shall be appointed by the county governor with the approval of the county assembly. And 4 members who shall be nominated by the following associations and appointed by the county governor with the approval of the county assembly. 1, an umbrella body representing professional association in the area. 2, an association representing the private sector in the area. 3, a cluster representing registered association of the informal sector in the area, and 4, a cluster representing registered neighborhood associations in the area. Pursuant to the above provisions, His Excellency the Governor, Honorable Mutula Kilonzo Jr., via letter reference GMC GVN ADM CASS 25 volume 3/78 dated 11 December 2023, submitted names together with testimonials of the following 7 nominees to the County Assembly for vetting and approval as members of Water Municipal Board. 1. Benjamin Masungwa, nominated by an association representing the private sector in the municipality. 2. Romeo Ndeveni, nominated by a cluster representing registered association of the informal sector in the municipality. 3. Benjamin Wambua Mutua, nominated by an umbrella body representing professional associations in the municipality. 4. Daniel Kisianga, Governor's direct nominee. 5. Paul Maundu Mutua, nominated by a cluster representing registered neighborhood association in the municipality. 6. Evelyn Mulewa Kimuli, Governor's direct nominee. And 7. Angela Kiamba, Governor's direct nominee. On the 13th of February 2024, pursuant to Standing Order 45, the Speaker of the County Assembly conferred a message to the Assembly that His Excellency the Governor had nominated the above 7 persons for appointment as members of Water Municipal Board. Pursuant to the provisions of Section 7, Part 4 of the Public Appointments, County Assembly's Approval Act 2017, the Clerk of the County Assembly, through an advert appearing on the 20th February 2024 Daily Nation newspaper, invited the nominees for approval, hearing, vetting before the Sectorial Committee on Lands, Urban Planning and Development. Guided by Section 8 of the Public Appointments, that is the County Assembly's Approval Act 2017, the Committee on Lands and Urban Planning vetted the 7 nominees on 28 February 2024. Having considered the nominees' academic and professional qualifications, work experience, adherence to the requirements of Chapter 6 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010, and all other laws governing appointments to state/public office, and having conducted approval hearings in the Committee on Lands, Urban Planning and Development, meant the following observations. 1. That all the nominees met the minimum requirements set under Section 14, Part 6 of the Urban Areas and Cities Act 2011 and amended in 2019 for appointment as members of Board of a municipality. 2, that all the nominees met requirements of Chapter 6 of the Constitution on leadership and integrity, having obtained clearance from Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commissions, that is EACC, Kenya Revenue Authority, KRA, a Director of Criminal Investigation, DCI, and the Higher Education Loans Board, HELB. That Mr. Romeo Ndeveni, one of the nominees, had served in the previous Water Municipal Board for 5 years. That 6 out of the 7 wards in the Water Municipality had a nominee, with Watensi Ward having 2, while Mavindini Ward had no nominee in the list. That the following 6 nominees are suitable for appointment as members of Water Municipality Board: Benjamin Masungwa, Benjamin Wambua Mutua, Daniel Mudhama Kisianga, Paul Maundu Mutua, Evelyn Mulewa Kimuli, and Angela Kiamba. That one nominee, Romeo Ndeveni, is unsuitable for appointment as a member of Water Municipal Board, having recorded unsatisfactory performance in the previous Board of Water Municipality and showing minimal understanding of the powers and functions of a board of a municipality, even after serving as a municipal board member for 5 years. Mr. Speaker, the committee hereby makes the following recommendations. That the Assembly approve the nomination and
Chairperson, before you go to the recommendations, you have to take note of all the proceedings that were carried before the committee.
Sorry. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the guidance. Before the recommendation is guided, I'll go to the committee's consideration of the received memoranda. Section 7, Part 10 of the Public Appointments and County Assemblies Approval Act 2017 provides that any person may, prior to the approval, hearing, and by written statement on oath, provide the clerk with evidence contesting the suitability of a candidate to hold the office to which the candidate has been nominated. Having received a memorandum challenging the nomination process of the 7 nominees, the committee, through a letter reference MCL Lands CRR/224/03 dated 28 February 2024 and in Annex 23, invited the representatives of Makueni Civil Society Network who had presented the above memorandum challenging the process of arriving at the nominees for lack of transparency and competitiveness. The committee gave the above petitioners an opportunity to elaborate on their memorandum, where they indicated that the hiring process was not competitive and there was no advertisement for the positions. The committee, however, addressed the above concerns by referring the petitioners to the amendments introduced to the Urban Areas and Cities Act in 2019, which under Section 14, Part 1, indicate that a board of a municipality shall consist of 9 members appointed by the governor with the approval of the county assembly. This was departure from the earlier provision which had board of a municipality members appointed through a competitive process. I can't see. Sorry for that. I'll repeat that paragraph, that the committee, however, addressed the above concerns by referring the petitioners to the amendments introduced to the Urban Areas and Cities Act in 2019, which under Section 14, Part 1, indicate that a board of a municipality shall consist of 9 members appointed by the governor with the approval of the county assembly. This was departure from the earlier committee with the approval of the county assembly. The committee, however, noted that the governor made an effort of writing to the associations specified under Section 14, Part 3, to present nominees for appointment to the board, and this is attached in Annex 24. Committee's findings and observations on the suitability of the nominees. Having considered the nominees' academic and professional qualification, I think I'd read this. So, Honorable Speaker, can I go to the recommendations?
Go ahead.
So, on the recommendations, the committee found this: pursuant to the provisions of Section 14, Part 3B of the County Governments Act 2012, Section 9 of the Public Appointments, County Assemblies Approval Act 2017, and Standing Order 217, Part 5F of the Makueni County Assembly Standing Orders, the committee makes the following recommendations: that the Assembly approve the nomination and subsequent appointment by the governor of the following nominees as member of the Water Municipal Board: Benjamin Masungwa, Benjamin Wambua Mutua, Daniel Mudhama Kisianga, Paul Maundu Mutua, Evelyn Mulewa Kimuli, and Angela Kiamba. That the Assembly rejects the nomination of Romeo Ndeveni for appointment as a member of Water Municipal Board. And 3, that the governor nominates another person from a cluster representing registered association of the informal sector within the municipality. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I will request Honorable Mwangangi to second the motion.
Honorable members, I propose a question for debate that this assembly adopt the report of Committee on Lands, Urban Planning and Development, the vetting of Benjamin Masungwa, Romeo Ndeveni, Benjamin Wambua Mutua, Daniel Kisianga, Paul Maundu Mutua, Evelyn Mulewa Kimuli, and Angela Kiamba, nominees for their appointment as members of the Water Municipality Board. A report which was laid on the table of the County Assembly on 5th of March, year 2024. The floor is open for debate. Member for Parliament Ward.
Honorable Speaker, I wish to thank the committee. At least they have done some good job.
Honorable member for Mlale Mali.
Yes,
Are you raising on a point of order or a commentary?
Mr. Speaker, I don't support.
Can you then execute your contribution in the manner in which you are allowed to? You are supposed to.
I rise to oppose the report, Honorable Speaker. Reason why: 1, I am happy because Honorable Felix Mateso, who is the chairman of the committee, is a seasoned member, and in the second assembly, he was also the chair in the same committee. And this pertains the second nominee, who was a member of the board previously and qualified, and the committee then vetted him, saw him suit that position, and he worked for that period of 1 term. Honorable Speaker, my worry is, why is it that he cannot qualify now, yet he qualified to be a member of the board many years ago? Where is the proof of in performance? Where is, how can you, as a committee or as a member, prove to this honorable house that the one member who was on a board, Romeo, is not capable? So therefore, Honorable Speaker, I want to disagree with the committee's findings that they saw all other members capable of being members of the board, a member who is experienced, a member who has served 5 years, and we can see good work which was supervised by that board. Before that board was in place, Honorable Speaker, we didn't have tarmac road within the municipality. We didn't have cabros in the town. We didn't have street lights as they are. That is an indication that board was up to capacity. It was a competent board. I thought he could have been the first member to be approved in that list. Therefore, the only reason why I don't agree with the report entirely as it is why the member has been the only member that Romeo, the committee has not been seen capacity in him. How I wish he could have been the first member to be approved. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Member for Mavenini Ward.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I stand to oppose this report as well. On the same vein that the member for Emali Mulala has unearthed, in the spirit of institutional discipline. This House cannot approve a member yesterday and disapprove today. If that member was not qualified, was qualified then, there is no way he cannot be qualified today. He cannot be unqualified today unless on criminal or other matters that can come within a short time. So, Honorable Speaker, even if this member is not suitable, by the fact that this House, we did pass him, then he has to be qualified as such. Something else, Honorable Speaker. Even though I am not opposing because of this, the committee has picked the fact that the ward of Mabindino that I represent did not get a nominee, which in primary justice, given that we had 7 slots and the wards represented here are 7. So primary justice would have dictated that every board gets a member. Something else, Honorable Speaker. In our constitution, the issue of 2/3 gender is something that we cannot wish away. Honorable Speaker, there are going to be 9 members of this committee, and we have 2 ladies. Mathematically, that is 2.2. And since we do not have a person, the least number that we could have had for a third of either gender is 3. So in the circumstances, there is one gender that is going to have less than a third. And so this committee may not meet the threshold of constitutional ceiling. So for this case, Honorable Speaker, unless there is an amendment to this report, I oppose.
Honorable Kimongo, on a 3rd gender rule, the board comprises of the executive committee member and the chief officer. Suppose the governor, in his powers and responsibilities, reassigns executive committee member tomorrow or yesterday and nominates a CCM member lady and a CEO lady, or vice versa. Doesn't that affect the 3rd gender rule? That puts then the question whether, in consideration of what we are approving, is it inclusive of the predetermined position that may be changed from time to time? Because if you peg the 3rd gender rule based on the position of an executive committee member, it then therefore follows that the governor ought not to have reassigned the executive committee member former, who was a lady, from that position for whatever reasons, for purposes of maintaining a 3rd gender rule. And therefore, should we then not consider a 3rd gender rule of the positions being vetted, not the constitutional positions?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Even if we go that route.
Go ahead.
Even if we go that route, Honorable Speaker, a third of 7 is 2.4. Do we have a half a person or a fraction of a person? The answer is no. So in the circumstances, we will still not meet the threshold. if we go the other route, right now we know the ECM in charge of lands where the municipality lies is a he. The chief officer is a he. So the only way that we can cure this, and that will be a very long route, and it will be like a push on the wall, is to have a ECM and a CEO who are both she. For the number, because the number is 9, so okay, one of them can be a she. If one of them is a she, it will be 3. Because the minimum threshold in this circumstance should be 3, number 3. So now there are 2.
Fair enough. Member for Zamani Vingon Road.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Speaker, from the outset, I would wish to declare that I oppose this report. Mr. Speaker, because of several reasons, unless the committee at this point in charge, Mr. Speaker, considers an amendment. One, Mr. Speaker, of the words that they use, there is no way, Mr. Speaker, an appointment committee will proceed and use words like preferably, directing where a candidate should come from, Mr. Speaker, while they should be guided by the Human Resource Manual on merits and qualifications that are required under law, especially Chapter 6. And of course, Mr. Speaker, considering the expansiveness of Wotensio ward and our population that needs to be represented in that ward. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, and I would wish to invite you to page 7 of that document. Mr. Speaker, page 7, or page 8, sorry, where they have said that as a committee, and my gadget keeps on jumping up. Sorry, just a minute. Where the committee says that they've checked on the academic qualifications of this person, Mr. Speaker, they have checked on Chapter 6 of the Constitution and all other laws. And Mr. Speaker, on their observations, yes, thank you very much. And allow me to read. Mr. Speaker, on that chapter, they have said, having considered the nominee's academic and professional qualifications, work experience, adherence to the requirements of Chapter 6 of the Constitution of Kenya, and all other laws, they found the following observations. One, that all nominees, Mr. Speaker, met the minimum requirements set out under Section 14(6) of the Urban Areas and Cities Act 2011. Number 2, that all nominees met requirements of Chapter 6. And Mr. Speaker, it goes down on how that went. In fact, Mr. Speaker, qualifying this member who has been disqualified, Romeo Deveni, as a member who qualified all the minimum requirements, Mr. Speaker. There down, Mr. Speaker, on observation number 6, and that is where my bone of contention is. Mr. Speaker, it says that one nominee, Romeo Deveni, is unsuitable for appointment as a member of the Water Municipal Board, having recorded, Mr. Speaker, unsatisfactory performance in the previous board of the municipality. Mr. Speaker, I would wish this committee to demonstrate whether they were presented with an oversight report from this assembly outlining that this member underperformed in his previous duties. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, if there is any report from the Auditor General and picking up on this nominee out of the many members who served in the previous docket, and whether that person really was unable to perform so that they can qualify, or else they can prove to this House that this nominee never warranted to have appeared in this House, Mr. Speaker. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, whether there were warning letters or disciplinary letters from his previous boss, or nevertheless a letter from the CS, and if maybe a letter from the Public Service Board outlining his underperformance, Mr. Speaker. Whether there is a memorandum from the public or a petition therefrom, Mr. Speaker, coming from the public outlining why this member cannot be picked to act in this, Mr. Speaker, board, and whether there is a complaint from the previous board chairman or any committee of that committee, Mr. Speaker, outlining their dissatisfaction in terms of performance from that person. Mr. Speaker, we've never had that person being kicked out from that committee. And all the names that were vetted and brought forward, Mr. Speaker, the committee does not disclose the origin of either of them in terms of word. And therefore, that issue of like we are going towards a certain direction, a certain word was misplaced. Mr. Speaker, it is laughable that the chairman of that committee was chair then, and he's still the chair right now. And that time he appeared before this committee, Mr. Speaker, led the same committee and assured that this house, that member was qualified. Mr. Speaker, it has to go into record that this member served 5 years, full sentence, Mr. Speaker, and they performed. That is why, Mr. Speaker, we are where we are as far as Water municipality is concerned. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, this recommendation by this committee was ill-advised, and it falls below the human resource threshold as far as merit qualifications, Mr. Speaker, are concerned. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, unless that committee considers an amendment, I have no problem with the 6 other members, but this 7th member, I think his rights have been violated, and as a house, we have to protect his rights. Let there be given reasons enough for us to ensure that for us to be comfortable that that person cannot perform. But as far as matters concerned right now, we believe that that committee has enough qualified and able members who should have seen some of these things before tabling this report. Thank you, sir.
Honorable Elizabeth Muthike Muli.
Honorable Speaker, I want to stand on a point of order in standing order number 68-1.
What is your point of order?
That, Honorable Speaker, you allow me to move an amendment
Standing order number?
68-1.
Go ahead.
That you allow me to move an amendment to this motion. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
68-1.
Yes.
Honorable members, standing order number 68-1 provides as a proposer of an amendment to a motion shall before moving it and the proposed amendment in writing signed by the proposer to the clerk of at least 2 hours before the order paper is read. Despite paragraph 1, which I have read, the speaker may in exceptional circumstances allow the member to move an amendment to a motion before the assembly at any time during the consideration of the motion. Honorable members, the table office has served me with a copy of a motion signed by one Honorable Elizabeth Muthike. Therefore, I allow you to proceed with your proposed amendments. Go ahead.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I beg to move the following amendment pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 68-1 of the Makueni County Assembly Standing Orders, that the motion be amended by inserting the following words immediately after the word 2024, subject to the deletion of the observations appearing in the report on pages 8, 9, and 32, and replacing therefore with the following observations. Having considered the nominees' academic and professional qualifications, work experience, adherence to the requirements of Chapter 6 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010, and all other laws governing appointments to state and public office, and having conducted approval hearings, the Committee on Lands, Urban Planning and Development hereby made the following observations. 1. That all the nominees met the minimum requirements set out under Section 14(6) of the Urban Areas and Cities Act 2011 as amended in 2019 for appointment as members of board of the municipality. 2, that all the nominees met requirements of Chapter 6 of the Constitution Chapter 6 of the Constitution on Leadership and Integrity, having obtained clearance from Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission (EACC), Kenya Revenue Authority, KRA, the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, DCI, and the Higher Education Loans Board, ELB. 3, that all the 7 nominees, 1, Benjamin Masungwa, 2, Romeo Ndeveni, 3, Benjamin Wambua Mutua, 4, Daniel Mudhama Kisianga, 5, Paul Maundu Mutua, 6, Evelyn Mulewa Kimuli, and 7, Angela Kiamba, are suitable for appointment as members of Wote Municipal Board, and by deleting the recommendation appearing in the report on pages 9 and 33, and replacing therefore with the following recommendation. Pursuant to the provisions of Section 14(3)(b) of the County Governments Act 2012, Section 9 of the Public Appointments County Assemblies Approval Act 2017, and Standing Order 217(5)(f) of the Makueni County Assembly Standing Orders, the committee recommends that the Assembly approves the nomination and subsequent appointment by the Governor of 1, Benjamin Masungwa, 2, Romeo Ndeveni, 3, Benjamin Wambua Mutua, 4, Daniel Mudhama Kisianga, 5, Paul Maundu Mutua, 6, Evelyn Mulewa Kimuli, and 7, Angela Kiamba as members of the Wote Municipal Board. Honorable Speaker, before I call the member for Tulimani to second my motion, I want to bring to your attention the report that has been read here by the chair, and I want to disqualify this report on the basis that, Honorable Speaker, the person or the nominee they are saying was not suitable to be nominated as a member of a board, served in a board previously for 5 years. The Committee on Lands, if they were good and intelligent enough to disqualify the qualification of that member, they should have accompanied their report with a report that was subjected to debate in this assembly, disqualifying the same member when he sat as a board member previously. And because that has not been proved and has not been provided before me in this house, I cannot disqualify the said nominee, Honorable Speaker. Again, for this member and nominee to have served in that board for 5 years, and also finding favor for the governor to send him again in this board again, it shows you that he qualified and he performed exemplarily well for him to attract the attention of the governor for a second term, Honorable Speaker. The other thing, for this member to be forwarded by the sector that also nominated him in the previous term, it shows that he's a member who served in that sector well, and that the sector had confidence in him again and forwarded the same name for approval to this county. If he did not perform well, Honorable Speaker, the sector would have decided, no, we don't need you in that board again, and you would not perform to our expectations, and we can replace you with another member. But now that the same sector forwarded this member to form part of the board, for me, it disqualifies the findings of the Committee on Lands to find this member not qualified to serve in that board. Honorable Speaker, the municipality charter says, and I have gone through the tenets of that charter, it says that a member can serve for a 5-year term and is also eligible for another term, appointment for another term. So you cannot disqualify this member in the basis that he served in the previous board. There is also an opportunity for him to serve again after a reappointment. If this House decides to approve this member, it is not the mandate of the Lands Committee to say you did not have to sit here again because you sat in a previous term. Honorable Speaker, so that I don't do a lot, and so that I don't waste a lot of time, I would request that this House supports my amendment to this motion, and I would request, I just want to be very, very, very intelligent, Honorable Speaker, not to assume that there was somebody in the Committee on Lands who had a personal vendetta with this nominee. So that, Honorable Speaker, we do not bring anything outside this performance, because I have not seen any net promoter score. Honorable Speaker, for you to decide that a person has not satisfactorily served, you must produce a net promoter score. A net promoter score will show you this person was given a certain mandate, and this is what they performed, and this is the score that they produced. The department or the Committee on Lands has not produced before this House a net promoter score to disqualify the performance of this said nominee in the previous board. So, Honorable Speaker, with those few and many remarks, I would request that the member for Tulimani, in this case, you will realize I've called him member for Tulimani, to second my amendment motion. Thank you.
Member for Tulimani Ward, Honorable Chalungu.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I stand to second the motion as amended, Mr. Speaker, by my colleague Honorable Elizabeth Mudhike. Mr. Speaker, and first of all want to congratulate that committee on lands. They did what they could. They vetted according to the rules, regulations, and laws, Mr. Speaker. And I know they know that they are not the final, because that report must be brought for the House to approve. And in this case, Mr. Speaker, in the very good spirit of a win-win situation, there comes that amendment. Because, Mr. Speaker, if I look at the names that are brought here, there are those names that His Excellency the Governor appoints, he recommends some names. But then there is also another informal sector, Mr. Speaker. They also give a name. I'm assuming, for example, if this report goes as it was, and the name goes back to the informal sector, and they bring that the same person, and we come and they bring that other person, what are we saying? So if the informal sector has faith in the person of Romeo Ndeveni, then give it to them, because that is their person. They are a person that they have trust with, Mr. Speaker. Is a young man, Mr. Speaker, who as much as he served in the first board, Mr. Speaker, but my colleague has read the charter. In fact, if she has read it, I don't have to read it, because I had asked her, you can read, because when she reads, I don't have to go back to read, Mr. Speaker. Because, you know, when my age now does not allow to take a lot of time in this, but I know she's very fast in that. So, Mr. Speaker, I had also gone through that charter, and doesn't stop the member to be, in that. So, therefore, Mr. Speaker, I don't want to labor much. I just want to second and actually support in totality in the amendment motion. I thank you.
Honorable members, I now propose the motion. The amendments as proposed by Honorable Elizabeth Muthuke-Moli, that the motion be amended by inserting the following words immediately after the word year 2024, subject to deletion of the observation appearing in the report on page 8, 9, and 32, replacing thereof with the following observations. I quote, having considered the nominees' academic and professional qualifications, work experience, adherence to the requirement of Chapter 6 of the Constitution of Kenya, year 2010, and all other laws governing appointments to state and public office, and having conducted approval hearings, the Committee on Lands, Urban Planning and Development hereby made the following observations. 1. That all nominees met the minimum requirements set out under Section 14(6) of the Urban Areas and Cities Act of the year 2011, as amended in the year 2019, for the appointment as members of the Board of Municipality. 2. That all nominees met requirements of Chapter 6 of the Constitution and the leadership and the integrity, having obtained clearance from Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, Kenya Revenue Authority, the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, and the Higher Education Loans Board. And number 3, that all the 7 nominees, 1, Benjamin Masungwa, 2, Romeo Ndeveni, 3, Benjamin Wambua Mutua, 4, Daniel Muthama Kisianga, 5, Paul Mahundu Mutua, 6, Evelyn Mulewa Kimuli, and 7, Angela Kiamba, are suitable for appointment as members of the Water Municipal Board. And by deleting the recommendation appearing in the report on pages 9 and page 33 and replacing thereof with the following recommendation. Pursuant to the provisions of section 14, subsection 3B of the County Governments Act of the year 2012, section 9 of the Public Appointments, County Assemblies Approvals Act of the year 2017, and Standing Order number 217, Suborder 5F of the Makueni County Assembly Standing Orders, the committee recommends that the Assembly approves the nomination and subsequent appointment by the Governor of 1. Benjamin Masungwa, 2. Romeo Deveni, 3. Benjamin Wambua Mutua, 4. Daniel Muthama Kisianga, 5. Paul Maundu Mutua, 6. Evelyn Mulewa Kimuli, and 7. Angela Kiamba as members of the Water Municipal Board. Honorable members, the floor is open for debate. I wish to make the following directions: that the motion as moved by Honorable Fiametta has been freezed. We are now on amendment motion as moved by Honorable Mudhike and seconded by Chalamumo. Once the motion by Honorable Mudhike is determined, then we will revert back to the initial motion, subject to whether the motion by Honorable Mudhike will have been approved or disapproved by this House. The floor is open for debate. Honorable Felix Mateso, member for Water Ward.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I just want to applaud the residents of Water who are present in the Speaker's gallery and to warmly welcome them to this assembly. Honorable Speaker, the amendment by Honorable Mudhike are very weighty. I've listened to them very carefully. And Mr. Speaker, the committee, having done its job, this assembly has its powers to approve or disapprove whatever report has come to this House. That is the norm of this House, Honorable Speaker. But I want to congratulate the committee for having done a good job. And Honorable Speaker, we will consider, my request is that this assembly consider these amendments if they feel that they are weight enough to bring the nominee back and bring the nominee to the board, then they are free to do so, Honorable Speaker. But that was a report by the committee which we forwarded to the House having done our work. And Mr. Speaker, I rest my case.
Member for Ukia Ward, Honorable Dolo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to support the motion moved by Honorable Elizabeth Mudhike for the amendment on the other motion. Mr. Speaker, the members who are submitted to serve in Water Municipality and based on what the committee did as vetting, they were all qualified, Mr. Speaker. The one, Romeo Deveni, who is said to had been rejected, Mr. Speaker, is someone who served in the previous board, and the committee should have picked the same member for continuity of the incoming board to enlighten and also help them settle quickly, Mr. Speaker. The committee also did not give substantive issues that can prove clearly that one Romeo Deveni did not perform in the previous board of Wote municipality. Therefore, we cannot say he performed dismally without substantiating the same, Mr. Speaker. Also, from the previous report which they had said that in their recommendation number 3, that they recommended, I don't know whether I'm the one who read wrongly, that they prefer someone from Mafindini ward. I don't know whether that was in their mandate to recommend where a candidate should be nominated from. I don't understand where that came from, and as a house, we need to do things in the right way. We need to ensure whatever we do is within our mandate. When the governor presents names, we as the house, we have no mandate to direct the governor where to pick the nominees from, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, I support the amendment motion by Honorable Mudhike. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Mavinini Ward, what is your point of information?
Speaker, I want to inform my good friend from Mukia that by use of the word preferably, there must have been a variable that the committee was basing I know the forwarding letter to these names from the governor had a sentence. And Honorable Speaker, you can bear me witness. The forwarding letter to these names from the governor had a sentence that said that they considered all the wards represented in the municipality. So I was taken aback with that sentence, and there's an omission of one ward not being represented in the board. So the committee is quite in order to say that in case there's a repeat of the process, because Wote ward had 2 nominees. So if the report was to go as it is, or if we were to repeat, already Wote would still remain with 1 nominee. So to correct that, it would have been better, or it is still better, for the second nominee to come from Mafindini. So the committee is quite in order to use the word preferably. Even right now, preferably, if we were to repeat, it should be from Mafindini.
Order, honorable members. Honorable Kimongo has defined his way of understanding on the word preferably. You have your way of understanding the word preferably. Now, unless we turn this to an English class, where now I have to look for Oxford Dictionary, then we will have deviated from the motion. Until the motion as a way of determining who is right and who is wrong, or who has a prowess to numbers, then we leave it at that. Let us not educate each other to what extent preferably means. Preferably means. I mean, it's not a material and a substance issue. I think we proceed. You cannot, let us not dwell on a non-issue. It is not the subject matter. And unless you want us to dwell on that matter, we have 15 minutes to 5 p.m. And you would have moved a persuasive majority before 4:30 to move a motion of extension so that we have as much time. However, if it's a determination as to what means preferably means, in the subsequent sitting, I will give you opportunity to debate on preferably. It is an English issue. Let us not complicate it. And the time may not allow the English definition of that. Please. Honorable Jackson Balu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I stand to support the amendment brought by Honorable Muthike. Mr. Speaker, it was very clear that the nominee, Romeo, had served in the previous board. He did not have a dossier against him. So his coming again, being appointed, would have been seen as an advantage with the experience coming in to assist the newly appointed. So, Mr. Speaker, without adding many words, it's very clear I support this nominee to continue and guide others. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Bitini Ward.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I raise to support the amendment motion moved by Honorable Elizabeth Muthike. Mr. Speaker, Romeo has served for 5 years as a member of the board, and we expect, if you serve in a board for more than 5 years, to have more experience in that board. So, Mr. Speaker, the committee did not demonstrate very well how unsuitable that person was. They just indicated that he was unsuitable, no evidence. So, Mr. Speaker, I support that motion. Thank you.
Jen Mwandi.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I rise to support the amendment made by the Honorable Elizabeth Molly with the reasons. One, Romeo is the only candidate who has the experience of the past board. Two, Romeo was vetted by the previous board and he qualified. So we need someone who has an institutional memory in this municipality of Wote. And three, let us portray justice when we are vetting. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Member for Ngumo Ward.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I stand to support the amendment by
Member for Ngumo Ward.
by the honorable member. You know, Mr. Speaker, I'm the vice chair of the Committee of Lands, but we need our best because we wanted to give the governor the best. And I want to ask members not to throw the fingers on the committee, because we did our part, and the rest was to the assembly to approve or to disapprove. So I said was to support the amendment, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Mover of the motion.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I request the House to overwhelmingly support the amendment motion. Thank you.
Honorable members, I now put the question for vote that the motion be amended by inserting the following words immediately after the word year 2024, subject to deletion of the observation appearing in the report on pages 8, 9, and 32, replacing thereof with the following observation. Having considered the nominees' academic and professional qualification, work experience, adherence to the requirement of Chapter 6 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010, and all other laws governing appointments to state and public office, and having conducted approval hearings, the Committee on Lands, Planning and Development hereby made the following observations. 1. That all the nominees met the minimum requirements set out under Section 14, subsection 6 of the Urban Areas and Cities Act of 2011, as amended in the year 2019, for the appointment as members of the Board of Municipality. 2. The all nominees met requirements of Chapter 6 of the Constitution on the leadership and integrity, having obtained a clearance from Kenya Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, Kenya Revenue Authority, the Directorate of Criminal Investigation, and the Higher Education Loans Board. And 3, there are all 7 nominees. 1, Benjamin Masungwa, Romeo Ndiveni, Benjamin Wambua Mutua, Daniel Muthama Kisianga, Paul Maundu Mutua, Evelyn Mulewa Kimuli, Angela Kiamba, are suitable for appointment as members of the Water Municipal Board. And by deleting the recommendation appearing in the report on pages 9 and 33 and replacing thereof with the following recommendation. The pursuant to provisions of Section 14, subsection 3B of the County Governments Act, year 2012, and Section 9 of the Public Appointments, County Assemblies Approval Act of the year 2017, and Standing Order number 217, Suborder 5F of Makueni County Assembly Standing Orders, the committee recommends that the Assembly approve the nomination and subsequent appointment by the Governor of the following: Benjamin Masungwa, Romeo Ndiveni, Benjamin Wambua Mutua, Daniel Muthama Kisianga, Paul Maundu Mutua, Evelyn Mulewa Kimuli, and Angela Kiamba as members of the Water Municipal Board. Honorable members, will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Honorable members, with the approval of the amendment to this motion by Honorable Elizabeth Buthike and the House thereof approved it, I now move the motion, propose the motion again, that this Assembly adopt the report of the Committee on Lands, Urban Planning and Development on the vetting of Benjamin Masungwa, Romeo Ndiveni, Benjamin Wambua Mutua, Daniel Kisianga, Paul Maundu Mutua, Evelyn Mulewa Kimuli, and Angela Kiamba, nominees for the appointment as members of Water Municipal Board, as laid on the table of the Assembly on 5th of March of the year 2024 as amended. The floor is open for debate. Member for Mulala Emali Ward.
Honorable Speaker, I'm happy to support the report as amended. I'm now happy that at least the committee comprises of a member who can share wisdom, experience to the rest, at least who doesn't require induction. As the rest goes for induction, it will be part of the induction officers. I wonder whether at times the member from Ngumo seconded the first motion under duress because he was one of the members to support the amendment. So at times, members, let us not support motion out of fear. Let us be free.
Order.
I support, Honorable Speaker.
Order, member for Mulala Emali. You are now getting into members' freedom on their position, and therefore the statement must be withdrawn. Allow democracy to prevail.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. As I withdraw, the message
Not
is at home.
as you have to do it first.
Honorable Speaker, I withdraw, and my position is that I support the report as amended. Thank you.
Fair enough. Member for Ilima Ward.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I rise to support the motion as amended on grounds that it is good as a house we keep the precedence of what has happened previously or then before in other houses. This happened, a similar motion took place at the National Assembly, where when we had the CS for tourism being reappointed in a different whatever. And in this context, I think this house has shown its independence when it comes to matters of correcting issues which might have befallen out of the norm. So in this context, I think I support and I applaud the mover of the motion that she did a good thing so that we can retain the good house. At the same time, it is better if somebody has gone through the full process of the clearances of all the corruption, all the checklists and everything. then I don't see why that person should be denied to exercise their experience and their greatness in serving for a second term or even a third term. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Member for what ensue what? Honorable Mateso?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'll always start by applauding the committee for the good job they did. Honorable Speaker, we are always aware, and this is the norm for all motions that come here. They will either pass, approved, or fail. So, Mr. Speaker, members have looked at the amendments. I actually agree with them that these were good amendments, and this was part that was remaining for the whole house to finish. So, Mr. Speaker, I agree and support the motion. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member for what ensue, mover of the motion. Member for what ensue, you spoke for the mover of the motion. Go ahead, be brief.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to thank the members for the debate and the amendments done. And therefore, I request the House to approve the report. Thank you.
Honorable members, I now put the question that this assembly adopt the report of the Committee on Lands, Urban Planning and Development on the vetting of Benjamin Masungwa, Romeo Ndeveni, Benjamin Wambua Mutua, Daniel Kisianga, Paul Mount Mutua, Evelyn Mulewa Kimuli, and Angela Kiamba, nominees for the appointment as members of the Water Municipal Board, laid on the table of the Assembly on 5th of March, year 2024, motion as amended. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 9. Motion. The report of the Committee on Lands, Urban Planning and Development on the vetting of Engineer Patrick Mutuku Mutua, nominee for appointment as member of the Emali Sultan Hamud Municipality Board.
Mover of the motion.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move the following
Honorable
motion.
Chairperson, you have very few minutes. You have to find a way of consolidating your moving.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Obliged. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move the following motion that this Assembly adopts a report on Committee on Lands and Urban Planning Development on the vetting of Engineer Patrick Mutuku Mutua, nominee for appointment as a member of Emali Sultan Hamud Municipal Board, laid on the table of the Assembly on 5th March 2024. Mr. Speaker, allow me to go straight to the recommendations.
Page 14.
Mr. Speaker, allow me to go to how the board was constituted.
Recommendations.
Recommendations.
Yes, page 14.
Mr. Speaker, having considered the academic and the professional qualification, work experience, adherence of the requirement, Chapter 6,
Honorable Member,
Constitution of
recommendations. Same page, last paragraph.
Hold on.
Page 14.
Page 14.
You have a different document.
These are summary. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think this is summarized. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I go straight to the recommendations. Mr. Speaker, pursuant to the provision of Standing Order 14.3b of the County Government Act 2012, Section 9 of the Public Appointment County Assemblies approved for Act 2017 and the Standing Order 217-5F of Makueni County Assemblies, County Assembly Standing Orders. The committee recommends the approval by the Assembly of Engineer Mutuku Mutua for appointment as a member of Emali Mulala Municipal Board. Mr. Speaker, at this juncture, I want to call Honorable Francis Munyao to second the motion.
Speaker, I do second and say that that nominee is fit to be a member of the municipality of Emali Sultan. Thank you.
Honorable members, I propose the question that the Assembly adopt the report of the Committee on Lands, Urban Planning and Development on the vetting of Engineer Patrick Mutuku Mutua, the nominee for the appointment as a member for Emali Sultan Ahmed Municipal Board, laid on the table of the Assembly on 5th of March year 2024. The floor is open. There being no member requesting to speak, I call upon the mover of the motion.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. This particular nominee have been demonstrated that his professionalism as an engineer qualifies him to as a member of this municipal board. He will bring a lot of expertise and knowledge to this municipal board. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I request members to support the motion.
Honorable members, I put the question for vote that this Assembly adopt the report of the Committee on Lands, Urban Planning and Development on the vetting of Engineer Patrick Mutuku Mutua, nominee for the appointment as member of the Emali Sultan Ahmed Municipal Board, laid on the table of the Assembly on 5th of March 2024. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Honorable members, of the following directions to make that pursuant to vetting act of the county assemblies of the year 2017, that the office of the clerk conveys to the appointing authority on the nominees as approved by the county assembly for Water Municipality and Emali Sultan Ahmed Municipality respectively. Honorable members, time now being 17:00 hours, this assembly stands adjourned until Monday, 11th of March, year 2024 at 14:30 hours.